stood for? Those vessels were in the temple of God. They were taken out of the temple of God. Do you know what we're called? We're called the vessels of God. We are the temple of God. We are those vessels and earthen vessels that He dwells in. Now this man was so prideful, even though he knew what his grandfather had gone through, Nebuchadnezzar. He knew all the miracle working power of God. He had heard about Daniel, the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace that was protected. His grandfather had told him about how he turned and lost his mind for 7 years, and that he had to turn up and repent, and God restored it. He knew these things, yet he rose up in so much pride that he tried to corrupt the vessels of God. Do you know that this country is now trying to corrupt the vessels of God? And just so you won't think I'm making this up, here is the website. The Montana school system wants sex education for kindergartners. By the first grade, it says these young children will be taught the meaning of the terms like, I won't go into those terms, thank you. But the next year, by first grade, they would be taught that a homosexual attraction is normal. Now this is before the age of accountability. Do you know who these belong to? Do you know who the children belong to before the age of accountability? Right. They belong to God. Yeah. And here we are now in our public school system, and this is in Florida, and this is spreading like wildfire, trying to corrupt the vessels and taint their ideology, and that's the whore's wine, the harlot's wine that Revelation 17 was talking about, that many people are partaking of. Oh, this is fine, this is great. This is not good. No. And God sees this, and we think God's blind to the fact, and He doesn't see these things, but He sees this. They will be taught that sexual intercourse includes, but is not limited to, well, I'm not going into that either. I'm sorry, I can't do it. It just makes me sick to know that we in America now are doing these things legally. Nobody's going in a cult and doing this illegally. This is public schools. So now our leadership has gotten so prideful, like Belshazzar here, and says, I believe I'm not only going to drink the wine, that means the false doctrine, the leaven, the lies. You remember, he told us in Luke chapter 5, Jesus was talking about putting that new wine in the new wineskins. That wine is talking about what goes in here, what corrupts here, what belief you have. If it's unclean, if it's not biblical, then it's the harlot's wine. Well, guess what? Now, we've risen up in so much pride that we have gone and tried to corrupt even the church. Believe me, they're trying to tell the church what to believe, and they have many pastors and many denominations under their thumb. They also have governmental funding to some of these pastors and denominations. You'd be surprised. It'd blow your mind if you really did a search and found this out. Not only that, but our Air Force, the great America now, the great United States, that I love, has now made way for witchcraft. They built a Stonehenge of the Rockies in Colorado at this Air Force base, for real. And they can go out there, since most of them are Wiccas and witches, they worship there now in front of the base. Here's a guy, matter of fact, doing worship with the stones around. Witchcraft. Now this is America. Occultism. The same type of thing that Freemasonry has in it. They worship Lucifer. And not only that, but we got the church that has gone for the harlot's wine. And in this was in 2008. You remember when the economy failed and everybody got scared? Yeah. And the first day it fell down to what? It fell, the number that dropped was 777. It was all over the newspaper. Very few people caught this. The watchmen should have caught it. The watchmen of the church are blind these days because they should have caught this. But it fell 777 points. That is God's number of completion. But you know what happened? Many in the church, big churches, said that God told them to go lay their hands on the golden calf that is right in front of Wall Street. Here's the picture so you don't think I'm lying to you. Oh my goodness. I told y'all human nature never changes. Never changes. All the way back to Exodus 32. The golden calf. That's that golden bull outside of Wall Street right there. They was told by whatever God they worship, they said it was Jesus, but I'm telling you, they didn't got another Jesus. They go lay hands on this bull and our economy would recover. Y'all see this? I want y'all to see it so you don't think I'm lying. I'm like a lawyer. Here's the evidence. I'm trying to teach tonight. Yeah. forgot to turn the recorder on. Isn't that something? Well, let me turn that thing on now. Because I'm not through. You know me, I'm long-winded. I'm going to try not to be so long-winded tonight.
You just preach it.
But verse 4 said this exact thing right here. It says they drank wine. That means they were tainted in their mind. Not only did they drink wine, but they were seduced. And they praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, and of wood, and of stone. Now, how many of us in America today have become so materialistic that we're in debt? And we wonder why we got $13 trillion worth of debt. And people are charging up their credit cards and they're praising the gods of gold and silver and of bronze, things that do not speak, that have no life in them. But guess what? Verse 5. In that same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. I bet he did.
He was good.
Before all of them, a hand appears and starts writing. You say, how does this compare with Revelation? Well, this is in Babylon. What we're in is Daniel right here. This is the king of Babylon, which means confusion. And I believe that we are Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel means to be born in Babylon. I'm telling you, we've been born in Babylon. Not only in this governmental system that we have, which has afforded us certain luxuries and delicacies. Really, if you look around, if y'all would do a search and look, we've been spoiled. Very much so. There's people starving to death in certain other places, but we got everything we want, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. We got fullness of bread. We got people's slothfulness. We got homosexuality. We got every one of the sins that was in Sodom and Gomorrah that you'll find in Ezekiel 16. It'll blow your mind. It wasn't just homosexuality. It was pride. It was haughtiness. It was a fullness of bread where we thought we could not, they thought they could not fall. There's people that think we cannot fall, but I've got news for you. I don't believe this day is far off. Nobody knows the day or the hour of God's judgment. But you can feel and you can see certain things coming to pass. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, so let me keep on going. So this hand writes on this wall, and the king is scared to death. And he's got a problem now. Verse 7, and the king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans and the soothsayers. Let me stop there. Do you know something else about our blessed country, which I love, but I will not be a part of?